Thanks for tuning in. I'm Frederik, and today I'll be exploring the topic of whether insurers have utilized or explored tech properly. And I have to say on the outset, no. Insurers have not explored tech properly. This presentation is about understanding why and how do we work with our companies, with the insurance companies, to make sure that we enable ourselves to explore technology going forward. Because I think we can all agree that technology is the future, and if we are incapable of working correctly or good enough with technology, we will lag behind. So today, stay tuned. I'll talk about how do we work with our companies to make sure that we can use technology properly. I'm Frederik, and I'm working as Executive Director for Digitalization and Innovation for Daman National Health Insurance company, which is based in Abu Dhabi, the UAE. And it is our vision to put digital at the heart of the UAE healthcare system. We do this by connecting more than 4,000 providers, companies, government entities with each other, enable them to exchange the relevant data seamlessly. For our customers, we enable contact, completely digital self-service. We have our digital branches, and we even have what we call warm hands, our mobile branches, where we come to the customers that needs it. Before we dive into understanding why insurers haven't leveraged technology properly and what we can do about it, allow me just a few moments to explain the concept of where we are going today. Now, companies, we are facing a new strategy imperative. Our customers, they are demanding even more than we've ever seen before. The pandemic obviously sped up the digital adoption even from our customer side, but also the expectations from our customers have increased tenfold. They're used to Amazon, they're used to Google, they're used to Netflix, they're used to extremely simple user journeys, extremely hassle-free self-service. This is what they come to expect from insurers as well, and this is the competition we're up against. We are not anymore up against our competitor next door. We are actually up against best of breed. We are up against the user interfaces of Google, Amazon, Netflix, Apple. And that is one of the imperatives we have to understand when we are working with our strategies, but also when we are thinking about why it's important to adopt new technology. Because obviously, we can't provide our customers a Google or Apple-like experience using the technology we had 5 years or using the technology that is 5 years old. So this and the extreme speed of technology, the world with open borders, the digitalization, the adoption of digital tools, and change in our partner structure has made our world and our predictions to how the world will go fluctuate in a way we haven't seen before. The demands for our products, the expectations, everything is fluctuating, and it is very difficult to plan many years ahead because we simply don't know what will hit us around the corner. This is something I believe personally will never change. This is the new normal. We are living in a world now where everything is fluctuating, everything is changing. However, that gives us a problem because when we're looking at the way IT traditionally has delivered our projects compared to what the business expects or wants, then you'll see there's a huge discrepancy. The business requirements, they're changing faster today than IT can follow up. And the new normal just sped up or made that problem even worse. So we're used to having these long IT projects, maybe 6, 12, 18 months. But the thing is, our requirements, the business requirements, have changed so many times during that period of time that when business releases the final version, then we celebrate it with a lot of change requests, a lot of new things, simply because the world has moved on so fast while IT has been developing these projects. And of course, IT is not sitting doing it because they don't want to do better. Actually, IT, they always wants to deliver exactly what the business needs. I think it's important to understand some of the issues that causes this discrepancy between what the business needs and what the IT is capable of delivering. If you understand that, you will also understand what things we need to work with and mitigate in order for us to be better at leveraging the new technology. Now, first of all, when we are working with our existing IT systems, then we have the concept of technical debt. And this is back to what I said before, because IT, they're not some unit that doesn't want to help the business. They always want to do the best. However, what happens is, remember the change of requirements. Business, they come and say, we need this change because of this, and that. And by the way, we need it next month. IT are forcing themselves to help delivering what the business needs, and they're cutting corners. They're saying, okay, now we should have done this in the right way. We should have made sure to include this database or this data set or whatever, but we won't because we don't have the time. So they're cutting corners. And when IT or the development starts cutting corners, we also start building up technical debt. That bites us in the leg next time we want to do a project, because we have to do an impact analysis. We have to understand the impacts of this new project on our technical debt. And this is just a vicious circle. So it becomes more and more difficult to develop new things simply because the business is becoming impatient. The demand results now, and IT cuts more and more corners. But at the end of the day, the technical debt slows the whole system down. There's another big challenge that you're looking at, and this is because we are having this pressure on IT, because it is always felt that IT is lagging behind because of resource problems, because of the technical debt and many other things. Then we also risk creating a us versus them understanding, because IT, they don't want to take responsibility for something that the business later can say this is because of IT. It gives us a long period of time where we do the user acceptance test, where we do the quality testing, where we sign the papers about everything, which further slows down the development. This also leads to very long and complex specification requirement gathering sessions, because IT don't want to do anything wrong, and the business is rarely available to work with IT during the development phases, so there is a long preparation phase. All these things combined with an organization that may not be able to follow up and deliver the required talent makes it difficult for IT to deliver the projects at the speed the business needs, but also hitting the actual requirements, understanding that they are moving over time, maybe even month by month. Now, how do we solve this? Well, an obvious answer is we partner with companies who have the technology that we need, who have the systems that we need to enable us to run the business faster. But in order for us to do that, we still need to make sure that IT is working with us, the organization is ready for the partnerships, because starting working with partners, new technology, is an organizational change. So to understand how can we leverage technology better as insurers, we also have to understand how do we work with organizational change. When we are looking at how to work with organizational change in the digital field, there are 3 areas that, in my experience, you need to be aware of. First, you must work on creating an environment on connectivity. If you don't have the ability to connect with the external world, you will never be able to leverage new technology. By enabling a layer of external connectivity, you will have less need for in-house resources. You will not challenge the existing chain of change requests, because you will move some of the responsibility to the business units. Moving the responsibility to the business units further ensures that they actually get what they feel they require at the time. So enabling the external connectivity is the first step. This is where you connect with the external world. But you also have to understand that when you start doing this, you will face a lot of resistance, because this may be seen as a threat to the organization. This may be seen as a threat to IT, saying, okay, if they're starting to do this, what is our future in the organization? I'll come back to that in a second also. When you do this, in order to implement the changes successfully, you have to embrace the power of one. If you start to do your changes in one team or one unit, you will be less challenging for the kings and queens in the organization. You will reduce the risk of facing turf wars. You will not be intruding into too many people's kingdoms, which makes it easier for you to do the change initially. It also makes good sense to keep your projects short-term. Short-term projects give you faster return on your investment. It, again, has less risk to the whole organization. You may see that your procurement process is not that long, and being able to show results quicker also motivates the organization to move on, saying, okay, this actually worked, so let's try one more, and let's try one more. So focusing on smaller projects, focusing on smaller teams makes it easier for you to get the changes done. Now let's go and talk about how would a system setup look like. It's going to be a little technical, and I hope that's okay. But when we are talking about enabling external technology and leveraging external technology, I would like to introduce the concept of two-speed IT. It's originally coined by Boston Consulting Group and Gartner. The concept of two-speed IT or multi-speed IT simply says that yes, you have a legacy system, you have a core system that you have to work with. We also understand that changes to the core system takes a lot of time for some of the reasons we already discussed, the technical debt, the sheer importance of the financial and transactional data that you have them also makes it a longer project to change things directly in the core. Now, the two-speed or multi-speed IT concept isolates the core using API layers. And with the core isolated, you are actually capable of introducing new technology on top of the isolating API layer. You can look at this as systems of differentiation and systems of engagement. Typically, the systems of differentiations are systems where you work with your processes, your workflows, and optimize the way the business works. And the systems of engagement are the systems that the partners and customers are facing. By doing this, you put the opportunity or possibility for business to work with external partners that connects to your application programming interface, your API interface, without interrupting the core systems of the company. If you don't interrupt the core systems of the company, you also don't need too much involvement from your core IT team that are, as we discussed, very, very busy doing change requests, doing important other tasks. So embracing the concept of two-speed IT is, to me, key in working with leveraging or utilizing the benefits of new technology for insurance companies. It also enables you to move faster and introduce smaller sort of projects. And when you introduce smaller projects, you'll be able to follow the fluctuations in the environment and therefore be able to meet the requirements of the business and the customers in a better shape. When you do these projects, remember that you need a clear project goal so you can measure the results of the project. Even if it's a 2-3 months project, make sure that you say, when this is launched, these are the benefits we get out of it. Also, in my opinion, do not exceed the magic 3 months limit. Any project that exceeds 3 months becomes a long project. And when you have a long project, the chances are that you won't meet the business requirements or the market requirements to the same extent. If you have a 6-month project, break it down, redefine it, break it down into smaller chunks, and then work with it. And when you're working with many smaller projects, it is even more important that you have a clear guiding North Star for where you're going. Because if you don't have this North Star, the many projects may actually risk you going in a wrong direction and you won't be hitting the actual goals of the company. So when you do this, make sure you have formulated a strategy, a vision for where you want to be, and work towards that vision. Every small project has to have a clear pointer towards that vision. And at the end of the day, you will see that your many small projects using the new technology has actually gotten you towards where you want to be. So when you have the foundation ready to go out and seek partners, seek new technology, then you also have to understand that in many cases, you are representing a large, maybe old incumbent insurance company with all its bureaucracy, with all its silos, all its red tape, all its kingdoms, all its resistance to change. And this will clash very, very well with the partner and the partner technology, because chances are when you're looking at partner technology, these are newer companies, maybe even startup companies that are very nimble, very fast moving, ready to make decisions immediately. This will clash because the partner company, the young company will not understand the processes and why it takes so long for the incumbent insurer to actually move ahead and do things. And on the other hand, the incumbent insurer is having trouble keeping up with the speed of the partner. And that results in friction. And many times it actually means that the partnership won't work. So in order for this to work, Make sure that you in the beginning align expectations. Be open about what are the processes we need to go through, how long will it take, why does it take so long, how can the partner help speed it up, but also make sure that the partner understands this is a process that will take time, because it will. On the other hand, when the partnership is in place, if you set a shared goal for success between you and the partner, chances are that the partnership will be a success much faster. Especially if these goals are motivational goals in terms of financial incentives for the people working on the projects, not just for the companies. So if you can work with the partner saying, okay, these projects need to succeed, so we will introduce a special motivation scheme for the people working on it to make sure they are working towards the same goal. This works very, very well. Now, I guess many of you are sitting back and thinking, yeah, this is very well, and it may actually be possible for us to do so in our organization. There are some solutions here that we may be able to introduce. However, we're too busy. We don't have the bandwidth. We can't just add another project on top of what else we're doing. And I would agree that is correct. Most organizations, most insurers are very, very busy today. So adding all these things that I've been talking about so far to the agenda, well, increases the risk of failing, which is not what we want. So I have a few suggestions if you believe this is important. And if you track back to what I said in the beginning about the changing world, the new strategy imperative, I hope you agree with me that this is important. In order for you to make this work, you have to stop some of the projects that you're doing. You have to make a project list, a prioritization list of all the projects and say, okay, if we only had 2 projects that could continue out of our 150 projects, which would those 2 be? Focus on them and the new projects. I know it's not that simple, but you need to be harsh in reducing the projects. I think organizations have a tendency to build up projects and projects and projects and start new. So maybe this exercise is also good just to keep focus on getting things done, but stop projects. Make sure that you reskill people. You may not have the capabilities or the talent in the organization that you require to do these things today, but in my experience, it's faster to spend time and money reskilling smart people in the organization than going out for a long hiring trip. So understand what are the capabilities, the resources, the talent that we need, and what people within the organization can we actually reskill. It's faster and it's way more motivational for the organization to work with the people that you have instead of having new hotshots coming in. You should also add this to the board agenda. If this is part of the board agenda, then every time there's a board meeting, they will want to know where are we with these projects. And that alone gives a huge motivational push into the organization simply because all of a sudden we have to deliver on it. So if you can, make sure that you add the concept of the project that you're doing within the new technology, within the 2-speed IC to the board agenda. In my personal opinion, the board should be very interested in knowing about this. This is the future of their companies. So they should be interested in knowing and exploring how do we leverage new technology. And last, every time, and I mean every time you do something good, make sure that you celebrate it. Make sure that you tell everybody about the good things that you and the team are doing so others in the organization and other partners would want to be part of this success that you are building. Good luck. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.